Hi everybody, thanks for joining me for another tutorial in Melinda's Rubber Room. I am Melinda Pierce and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm here today to show you how to make this card. So this designer series paper back here with the butterflies on it is from the limited time edition of Butterfly Bayou, I believe was the name of the paper. Unfortunately it is sold out, but you can use any kind of designer series paper to make this card. It is easiest if the design is non-directional. So if you're doing this card for the first time, you might want to use a non-directional type of paper. The butterfly itself in the center is from the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set and dies. This is a gorgeous set. I strongly recommend that you check this out on the online store at www.melindapierce.stampinup.net. You can just search for Butterfly Brilliance and you'll be able to see the stamp set and the dies and the bundle there. Okay, so I am going to get right to it and I will point you down to my work surface so you can see how to put together this card. So this card was a card that I showed how to do in my weekly Zoom classes. You can find all the information about my weekly Zoom classes on my Facebook page, and that is www.facebook.com/Melinda's Rubber Room. I do identify there the dates and times of my Zoom sessions, as well as the cards that I'm going to be making, along with all of the sizes of the paper that you need to cut ahead of time if you want to do the card along with me during the Zoom session. So the Zoom sessions are a great time to ask a lot of questions and to just socialize with other stampers. And I do the featured card with you and help you along the way. So hope you can join me for some of those Zoom sessions. Okay, so for this card, so here's another sample of the same card. So this one I put the designer series paper up a little bit higher so that you get more of a movement with the card, whereas this one is kind of all centered in the on the mat. Okay, so what you're going to do is take two 3x3 pieces of designer series paper of one design and two pieces of 3x3 designer series paper of another design. So you'll have a total of 4 3x3 pieces of designer series paper. You will also need a card base that measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. You will need a mat that measures 5.25 by 4, and another mat the same color as the first mat that measures 5 by 3.75. Okay, so when all is said and done, these should all fit nicely on top of each other with a little bit of a border all the way around each of the mats. Okay, so that's just a quick test fit to make sure all of your pieces are cut correctly. Okay, so now we are going to take our 3x3 squares and we're just going to cut them on an angle from the right corner down to the left. And I'm just putting this into my Stampin' Up! Cutter. I'm actually doing both of these squares at the same time, just layering them one on top of the other. I'm matching up the points, the diagonal points, into my cutting channel, closing down my bar and running my cutter right through those corners to create the 4 triangles. And I will do the same thing with these ones. So my yellow designer series paper actually does have a little bit of a directional design to it. So I will show you how that can be a little tricky. Okay, so I have my silicone mat here because I tend to overglue my triangles when I'm attaching them, and I don't want to create a sticky mess on my placemat. So I have the smaller of my 2 mats, and I'm going to take my first triangle and put it down on my card. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to basically line these up into the center of the card. And you can certainly make a dot on the center of your card if you want to. I'm just going to eyeball it here. And what I'm doing is I'm putting every other one down with my first designer series paper. It actually goes like that. And you're basically creating like a pinwheel type of design. So what you want to look for is that all of your points are matching up in the center, and that you have this diagonal going across here and across here, and that you have a straight line going down this way and across the middle. So once you have those in place, you're going to take your other pieces. Now again, this is the one that has a direction to it, and my flowers are kind of going up this way. So this one I'm going to lay here so that my flowers are going upright. This one, the angles are going this way. So yeah, see, this is where it gets tricky, and you can't, it's always going to be upside down. So that's why you want to be careful about when you're cutting your designer series paper. If you have a direction to it. Okay, I'm not too worried about the direction of my yellow designer series paper because it just kind of looks like random flowers. It's not too bad. I had a little cheat sheet here that showed the design. So basically what you're after is a design that looks like this. So A represents one designer series paper and B reflects the other designer series paper. So if you do have a directional print in your paper, you want to just be cautious of how you're cutting your designer series paper. So either cutting it from right to left or left to right. Okay, so if your A designer series paper is a directional design, then you want to cut from left to right, and that will give you an upright image for this piece here and this piece here. And then your other 3x3 paper from A designer series paper, you'll cut from right to left. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. You might want to play around with it a little bit just to get the hang of that. Okay, so when you are placing it on your mat, you want to make sure that you have a little bit of a border in between each of your triangles. And you kind of want to look to make sure that the distance here that is off of your mat is the same as down here that is off your mat. So your triangles are larger than the mat itself. So we are going to glue these into place now and then go back and cut off the extra designer series paper. So this is where I tend to over glue. So what I'm going to do is kind of put my fingernail right where my paper ends, my mat ends, and just glue this little triangle here. And hopefully that will prevent some of the excess glue from coming out off of my mat. I've done a whole bunch of these and it seems like I just never quite get it right, and I always have some glue coming out on the back end. Hopefully this time it won't be as bad as others. If you have too much glue, then your scissors or your cutter is going to get messy too when you cut off the excess. This is kind of a fun way to use up your designer series paper. Because if you start with the 6x6 sheets of paper, you can make a lot of cards out of that. So basically, out of one 6x6 paper, if you're using both sides of it, you can make 2 cards. I think I did the math right. No, you would make 1 card out of a 6x6 using both sides of the paper. Feels like a nice spring day here in California. You can hear the birds chirping outside. The sun's out. Beautiful Monday morning. I hope it's nice where you all are from as well. Leave me a message and let me know where you're from. It's always fun to see who's watching my channel. Okay, so that is all of our triangles glued down. You're going to turn it over. You can see I do have some extra glue right there. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and cut all this extra off. I'm just going to use my scissor. So the paper that I'm using is Flower for Every Season, and it is actually on the retirement list, and I believe it's actually on sale as well, so you should check that out. Again, that's on my online store is www.melindapierce.net, and you'll be able to see all of the retired items there, as well as the ones that are reduced in price. So now is a great time to pick up some of those items you haven't been able to get yet. Okay, so I'm going to take my smaller mat and adhere it down to my larger mat. Just like so. And that way that gives you the same yellow border in between your triangles as what you have on the outside. And then that's going to be layered on my card base. Now I don't have a butterfly cut out for this one yet, so not sure what I'm going to put in the middle. Some of my Zoomers that joined me for my Zoom class just put a greeting right in the middle, and that looked really nice. Others put flowers and butterflies and dragonflies. You could go any way that you want, and you can actually make it a portrait card or a landscape card. Okay, so again, here's my finished card. So I just attached the butterfly with the dimensional, and then I did put a greeting together. And then this one this was actually a butterfly that I had cut out from that Butterfly Bayou paper with the die cuts from the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set and dies. All right, so that is my tutorial for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, if you'd like to find out more information about my Zoom classes, please hop over to my Facebook page and follow me there. That is www.facebook.com/Melinda's Rubber Room. And to make any purchases from Stampin' Up, please go over to my online store at www.melindapierce.stampinup.net. All right, hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and we will see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.